Hey, Sage.
Yeah,
Would you like to know an interesting fact?
I would guess.
From Hellfire Citadel's launch to Legion's launch was 1 year, 2 months, and 7 days exactly.
Was it now?
That was a very long time.
Pretty big window.
Hopefully, as we speculate today, when the release date of Battle for Azeroth will be, it is nowhere near that amount of time.
So I'm Sage,
And I'm Rage.
and today we are discussing kind of our theories based on some numbers and then just kind of statements by Blizzard when we roughly think that Battle for Azeroth is going to drop.
Now, as I already mentioned at the start of the video, it was 1 year, 2 months, and 7 days total time between Hellfire Citadel and Legion, giving World of Warcraft its biggest dry spell ever without really any major content at all. And it drove players kind of insane as we waited for Legion. But we all held in there because we had something to hope for.
Yeah, so, with that, we thought we'd dig into a few of the other numbers and other things and just kind of talk about it. So we start off with the, 434 days between Hellfire Citadel and Legion. That's the big gap. But then kind of back it up a little bit, and we can look at, Siege of Orgrimmar and Warlords of Draenor.
Yep. Siege of Orgrimmar and Worlds of Draenor, it was about another year-long time. The big thing that kind of changes things that we're going to be looking at, and people will be like, well, how do book dates determine when stuff is coming out? We can see a pattern between when a book is released that is a filler between the expansions for lore and when the next expansion launches. And so Christy Golden's book is due to come out May 15th, 2018, and that is before the storm. It's going to give us all the fat, juicy details and lore about what is taking place between the end of Legion and the beginning of Battle for Azeroth. Now, if we do some comparisons to this, we see that War Crimes was released May 6, 2014, and then Warlords of Draenor itself came out November 13th, 2014. 191 total days between the book and the launch of the actual expansion.
Yeah, so there we have our first real window. I don't know how many months that is off the top of my head, but it's a good chunk.
It is a very good chunk. And then we look forward as we go forward, and if we go off that model, we see Before the Storm's going to come out May 15th, 2018. If we go 191 days, and we go that exact model, which is it's not going to be exact at all, but just as a premise, that puts Battle for Azeroth next year, 2018, somewhere around November 22nd. Now, because that's Thanksgiving week that year coming up, Sage and I would think that if it was going to launch based off that book timeline thing, it would be November 27th, the following week, like we didn't get Antorus on our exact 77-day patch cycle. It got pushed back a week because of the holidays, or it could be launched a week before the holidays on November 13th, if we go with that type of cycle.
Yeah. And obviously it will release on a Tuesday, because that's just how Blizzard releases their stuff. That's just the cycle.
But that's not really enough to base an entire theory or speculation on. So we wanted to take it a step further, and we looked at when Illidan, the book, was released, to when Legion was released, and that was 150 days total time.
Yeah, we have
The book.
When was the book released?
The book was released April 2nd, 2016, and Legion was launched August 30th, 2016, exactly 150 days apart. So 191 days, now down to 150 days in between. We can see kind of a pattern there growing.
Yeah, they're not really that far off, day-wise. 41 days apart.
Not really when you think about books to expansion launches. If we go with the 150-day cycle from May 15th and then go forward, that would place us on October 12th of 2018 for Battle for Azeroth coming out, if we go with the 150-day cycle. Now, there are some other things to consider as we shoot somewhere between October and somewhere in November. That's what I'm really putting it on, somewhere between there. I would like to think that we could go as early as July or October inside of 2018, with the book being released on May 15th. And this is my reasoning on this. 77-day patch cycles.
Yeah.
From Antorus to another 77 days would give us some type of patch coming out, content patch coming out, February 13th, 2018. We know they're going to add a Silithus Battleground.
Yeah, we know that's coming.
We know that there's probably more content than that as an actual filler patch to build us up to it. Like in Legion, we had the pre-Legion events where the invasions were going on. We could see something like that, but not as early as February 13th. If you go another 77 days past February 13th, 2018, we then get to May 1st, which would put us 14 days out before the book launches.
Obviously, the new expansion is not going to drop before the book. Like, I think we can all kind of agree on that one.
Yep. We're not going to get this new expansion before the book. That would make little logical sense when the pattern before is books come before expansions, and why would you put out an expansion before your lore happens?
Yeah, and the other thing is we can generally assume it's not going to be the book launches, then a week later we get Battle for Azeroth. I just don't see that happening.
I also see Blizzard respecting their new employee. Christy Golden is now on the team, and she has been hired by Blizzard. So why would you put her book out and then go, boop, here's the game, and no one would read the book? It would hurt your own sales and numbers.
Yeah, so they're going to let the book get some legs, kind of grow a bit. So expect Battle for Azeroth at the bare minimum, at least a few months out from the book.
Exactly. So February 13th would be 77 days from Antorus' launch. May 1st would be 77 days at February 13th. July 17th would be another 77 days past that. And then after that, another 77 would be October 2nd. Now, why would I shoot for that October time? Because October 12th was 150 days after, if we went off the Illidan to Legion launch, 150-day cycle. October 2nd would be that many patches. The other thing is that Gamescom is August 25th of 2018. Blizzard announced Legion for the first time at Gamescom. We know they do and have done major announcements at Gamescom. They've also participated in PAX East before, and that is April 5th, 2018. So again, April 5th is before May, and we got to have the book launch before we launch the game, the expansion. Gamescom is August 25th. I feel like they would use that to say, hey, here's what our final things are as we're getting ready. Here's what the classes look like. Here's way more details.
Yeah, I feel like PAX East is where we're going to get our first real chunk at post BlizzCon about the expansion. We've shored up some things. Here's some new details and all that.
Yep.
Maybe even throw out a release date.
Yep.
It's debatable, but we'll see. So going off of this patch cycle that Rage has detailed out, I would like to take a stab at some potential content. Obviously, February 13th, probably going to be Silithus related and, new Battleground and all that.
That's if they keep their 77-day cycle.
If they keep it, yeah. I want to say that May 1st will probably be something small. Probably like a new Time Walk. You might see Encourage come back just because it's related.
Yep.
But all in all, I don't think that'll be huge. But I think either July or October, you'll see the pre-release patch. That'll actually set up for the new expansion.
Yep. And I just can't see him launching before Gamescom because that's a perfect opportunity to build more hype before it goes.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, if it launches in October or November, that does put us again at an almost year-long cycle of one major raid to another expansion release.
Yeah.
Now, that's better than a year and 2 months. It's similar. I want to say it's going to happen before October. I want to say it's going to happen, early September even. I want to put it there because I feel like Blizzard has told us before, we don't want you sitting around for a year again between expansions. And September would be a almost 10-month window, and it would give us something. It would let Gamescom launch, it would let patches breathe, it would let the book breathe and its lore and sales, and then we could see something going forward because there really isn't much between September and November of 2018 where we see any windows where something could go.
Yeah, and really, I think that September does sound pretty solid for a release date because Blizzard, as you said, Blizzard has mentioned they want to shorten the time between final patch of an expansion and the next one dropping.
Yep.
And while if you look back, usually it is about a year.
Yep.
If Blizzard can manage it, I think you can expect it to be sooner than the usual cycle.
Yep. But again, not within the next 6 months at all. So in conclusion, putting all the stuff together, book release dates to expansion release dates, patch cycles, Gamescom, PAX East, all these announcement places where information can come out. Sage and I are confident putting the release somewhere between September 2018 and November 2018.
Yeah, I think that's the surest bet. I mean, we could be off base. We could be wrong here, but,
Yep.
Judging by the numbers, I feel that's a pretty confident guesstimate.
Absolutely. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think. When between those dates do you think that could happen? Do you think we're way off? Is there any information in release dates and patterns that you guys have seen in the past that we're missing here? Go ahead and fill us in. And as always, hit like and subscribe and share with a friend. And thanks so much for the support on the channel so far. We are approaching 200 subs almost.
Yeah, we're just loving all the support and that you've been giving us down in the comments, all the likes. And we just want to say thanks, you know?
It's a big deal. We went our first 4 months on our channel fighting to get to 100 subs, and now in the last couple weeks we've almost doubled that.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. So just thank you to you guys, and please keep watching.
See you later.